I now invite the President and Vice-Chancellor, Professor Margaret Gardner, to present a candidate for the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Deputy Chancellor. Ms. Maudie Palmer is an expert in the field of Australian modern and contemporary visual art and is one of Australia's most well-respected arts curators and administrators with a distinguished career spanning many decades. She's highly skilled in the design and operation of visual arts museums, having been the founding director and curator of significant cultural institutions in Victoria, such as the Heidi Park and Art Gallery, which is now the Heidi Museum of Modern Art, and the Tarrawarra Museum of Art. Ms. Palmer has also consulted on a wide range of contemporary art projects with artists and architects from conceptual stage to execution, including Parks Victoria's Yarra Valley Artists in Residence program, the Herring Island Environmental Sculpture Park, and the Melbourne Festival Visual Arts program. In 2006, Ms. Palmer was appointed an Officer in the Order of Australia for her service to the community through activities fostering greater public knowledge and understanding of contemporary art and artists, and in curatorial and advisory roles related to work on collections of national significance. Today she works as an independent curator and advisor on art acquisitions and commissioning installations of large-scale works across Australia. Ms. Palmer has been committed throughout her career to working with communities and artists to promote the arts as a vehicle for social transformation. She believes that art can provide the ideas which will change and shape behaviours needed to achieve an environmental and cultural legacy for a better future for generations to come. Ms. Palmer was appointed a Vice-Chancellor's Professorial Fellow at Monash University in 2012, where she initiated the innovative cross-faculty Birrarung project, which encompassed Indigenous heritage, history post-settlement, art, architecture, environment and sustainability. She is currently a member of the advisory board to the Monash University Museum of Art. Some of Ms. Palmer's other appointments and community engagements include her role as a trustee of the National Gallery of Victoria for 9 years, a founding ambassador of Climb Art, and advisor to the chairman and board of Tarrawarra Museum of Art. It has been a career dedicated to bringing arts to the community. Deputy Chancellor, it gives me the greatest pleasure to present to you for admission to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, Maudie Palmer.
With the authority of Council, I admit you, Maudie Palmer, to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. I now have much pleasure in inviting Dr. Maudie Palmer to deliver the graduation address.
Before beginning, I wish to acknowledge the traditional owners of this country where we gather today, their elders past, present, and their future leaders. Deputy Chancellor Dr. Megan Clark and President and Vice Chancellor Professor Margaret Gardner, members of the official party, graduates, families, and friends. Deputy Chancellor, thank you for this honour you have bestowed upon me. It's an honour that would have made my parents proud. I grew up on a farm in southwest Gippsland. When my father was only 14, he came from Tasmania to work in Gippsland. When my mother was only 11, her father died. She left school to care for her younger siblings, while her mother went to work to support the family. I'm the only one among my siblings who went on to further education. I've done a lot since leaving the Kooyurup swamp. Today, I want to highlight some of the things about my work as a museum director and as an art curator that have proved immensely useful during my career. The first thing I'd like to highlight is the importance of mentors. I've always recognised the value of having a mentor, and perhaps just as importantly, the value of acting on their advice. During my first job as Assistant Director and Curator at the University Gallery, University of Melbourne, I learned from the then Vice Principal, Ray Marginson, how to raise funds to support the arts. He taught me to be confident, to remember that I was not asking for money for myself, but for money to support artists and to support the gallery. The gallery provided an opportunity for students on campus, as well as the general public, to engage with contemporary art and artists. Another important key in every stage of one's working life is to formulate a vision, to set one's sights on how to achieve that vision and to be relentless about its advocacy. For the job of inaugural director at Heide Museum of Modern Art, I had 3 interviews. It was during those interviews that I articulated the vision that I worked to fulfil once appointed. The vision was to build on the legacy of John and Sunday Reid, the great supporters of Melbourne modernism. Their home at Heide on the Yarra River was a sanctuary for artists from the mid-1930s. With a committed board, I was able to reimagine the Heide 2 house as a living museum, adding a large gallery and transforming the sprawling garden into a sculpture park. I would say that embracing change has been a driving factor in my career. My decision to leave Heide was about change, both change for the institution and change for myself. My next opportunity to be involved in a major project from its inception came when Eva and Mark Beeson, passionate collectors of Australian modern and contemporary art and supporters of contemporary architecture, offered me the role of founding director of Tarawara Museum of Art. Eva and Mark wanted to build a museum to house their collection and to gift it to the public. After a decade at Tarawara, which also happens to be located on the Yarra, I again felt ready for a new challenge, for change. I knew that Tarawara's next leader would continue to grow the museum's reputation. Another priority in my working life has been to bring artists together with the community. This bringing together has been an underlying factor in all my projects, especially those that involve restoring and revitalising regional places, towns, or institutions. A street museum for St Arnaud that I developed provided artists with a residency in the township. The artists created exhibitions in vacant shop windows and on a huge billboard. They engaged with local school children and local artists, including musicians and dancers. The local community celebrated the year-long event. Also highly important for a career in the arts industry is to have the support of family, friends, staff, and collegial networks, and to make the many, many amazing volunteers who are attracted to the arts and who give generously of their time and energy. These networks were crucial to the success of another project that had to be built in just 6 weeks on the only island in the Yarra River. I had been given a simple brief by Parks Victoria to come up with an idea to attract visitors to the island. I was then commissioned by Parks Victoria and Melbourne Festival to build Herring Island Environmental Sculpture Park. I brought together an architect, a horticulturalist, 6 artists initially, some of whom had residencies, volunteers and donors of material and philanthropic support. We transformed the island's ugly old scout hall into a small, elegant gallery, and the artists built magnificent works from natural materials that would enhance the wildness of this artificial island. That brings me to the final point I'd like to emphasise. In the immediate future, we all need to urgently look after this land. We need to use our passion and creativity to bring it back from what is surely the brink of destruction. We need to listen to our First Nations people. We need to listen to the scientists. When I was appointed a Vice-Chancellor's Professorial Fellow at this university almost a decade ago, I had not fully understood the significant role the Yarra River had played in my working life and how much I love its landscape. In my conception of a cross-faculty project here at Monash, the Yarra, now with its traditional Wurundjeri Wurrung name, Birrarung, was a natural choice to encompass Indigenous heritage, history post-settlement, art, architecture, environment, and sustainability. The project culminated in the film, Birrarung. Since my time at Monash, I have continued working on the Birrarung project, conceptualising an idea for a Birrarung cultural precinct, which would include a large ecological artwork of more than 1,000 trees, with a meeting place to be located not far from the Bolan Bolan Billabong in Bulleen. Most recently, I've collaborated with Wurundjeri curator Stacey Piper and artist Eugene Howard to develop a proposal that will extend from that billabong upstream to the Upper Yarra's closed catchment, which, by the way, still provides about 70% of Melbourne's drinking water. Our project has the working title of Birrarung Cultural Pathway, a journey into landscape and imagination. I know that the past year has been difficult for many people, and I know that you have all adapted brilliantly, especially through the development of new skills and patience online. We live, like everyone else, in uncertain times. With that uncertainty comes a conservatism driven by simple economics. The humanities, art and design among them, don't fare well in that equation, because the riches they bestow don't always translate into numbers that can be counted, but the riches of the arts mean so much more than numbers. Their meaning comes through what we see, what we touch, and what we hear. The arts can change ordinary lives. Creativity can influence every aspect of what needs to be done, whether that creativity comes through art practice, scholarship, design or architecture, or arts administration and management. Congratulations to all of you who have graduated today, and to your families for supporting you through the long years dedicated to your learning. You will decide what role you will play as we go forward. The choices you make are all yours. I'm so glad that Monash University has worked so hard to adapt to the many changes impacting tertiary education in all areas, but notably in the Faculty of Art and Design and Architecture and the Arts faculty, to equip you to continue reshaping a better world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Palmer. I think you reminded every one of the graduates that if you choose to make a difference in your community, in your region, on a small island, and you bring that vision, and you certainly brought outstanding vision to all of those projects, incredible things will happen. And you've certainly made some incredible things happen. Thank you for what you've done for Monash, for what you've done for the state of Victoria, for what you've done for Australia, for what you've done in the field of the arts. You mentioned mentors and listening to them. The second part's probably just as important as the first part, so thank you for that. And you have demonstrated to the graduates that you challenged yourself. You challenged yourself to make changes and make your contribution. Thank you, and reminded us all to look after the land. Please join me in thanking Dr. Palmer.